Hey, Coach Marcy, how we doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much for asking.
Of course, I'm really glad that you're here and I'm really looking forward to our conversation, especially having had our pre-discussion, which went so well. We got to know each other a little bit more, so it makes me all the more excited about,
Yes.
about this session, about this time. All right, so let's dive right into it so that people can benefit from what we have to say. All right, so let's start off with who is Coach Marcy?
Well, Coach Marcy is a career coach who offers career coaching services to all clients that have been maybe underpaid, undervalued, fired, reduced from the workforce, or even laid off. And they're now seeking a transition into a career that they love for the salary that they deserve. So I help my client with those services.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what made you get into this kind of career, or what made you get into this business? Because, especially, I love how you use the words underpaid, undervalued, reduced, laid off. It sounds like there's a lot of passion behind what you do. You're very specific about the kinds of people who you serve. It sounds like you kind of have an idea of what it is to experience one of these things that you mentioned here. I guess that's what would make you so great a coach, right? To be able to coach someone through something that you've possibly been through. So I know you have a story. Share that with us, please.
Oh, well, thank you so much, first and foremost, for even having me this evening. But I want to go ahead and share the story of a time where I had been working for my employer for about 2 years or 2.5 years. I had gone on vacation and returned from vacation. And right after running the payroll and getting us situated and getting the week started, I ran new hire orientation. And when I got back to my office, I was told that they were letting me go.
Hmm. Any
And
reason behind saying that they were none?
none, none. And here's the thing, at will termination exists in all of our states. So that means that the employer has a right to release you without notice and not really give you a reason why. Same thing as you have the right to quit without notice and
Mm-hmm.
not tell them why.
Mm-hmm.
So the harsh part about that was that wasn't something expected. I had no performance issues. I had no attendance issues. I
Mm-hmm.
had no negative issues. And the hardest part for me was just hearing it. And when I extended my hand to say thank you for offering me the opportunity, he kind of fled my office and called security and had them escort me out the building.
Security. Was that
Security.
necessary? Looking back at it, let's be honest
No,
with ourselves and really see why that employer thought that was necessary. Do you find, or do you think, looking back, that it was at any point or for any reason necessary for him to call the security?
not at all. Not when I'm in a seated position and he's standing in front of me at my desk,
Mm-hmm.
standing. And I go to stand up and extend my hand as I'm standing, and my
Mm-hmm.
hand is open to shake his hand. There
Mm-hmm.
was no threat, but maybe he thought I would lose it or something. I'm not really sure. I just know that he shut the door when he left,
Mm-hmm.
and I bent down to get my purse and I stood up. I opened the drawer to take out my lunch, and by then security was at the door.
Mm.
And he let them in and they escorted me out and basically walked me out the front door, closed it behind me, and basically said, "You're not allowed to return to the premises." And I said, "Okay."
Mm-hmm.
And I sat in the parking lot in shock, like,
Mm-hmm.
wow,
Mm.
this is what do I do? I have two children to support. I was a single parent at the time. And what do I do? I'm living from check to check. I was already underpaid.
Mm.
And I sat in the parking lot for 30 or 40 minutes
Mm-hmm.
and I looked around and I observed the premises and just said, I'm never going to go there again. And I can't walk there. And the fountain is there. And I felt like if I got out of my car and walked around, I would only make it worse. Like I would just cry. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, deep breath, and let's go ahead and drive. And I drove and realized, okay, I have to stop for gas. I'm getting close to home. I've got to stop for gas. And I got off the exit and it was the wrong exit. And I said, what am I doing here? But I saw the gas station. So I said, I'm going to go to the gas station. And I'm standing there and I'm hearing noise, like lots of people. And I've got to tell you now, it's not a lot of people where I live. And it's not a lot of people that you would normally hear just kind of hanging out.
Right, right.
So when I looked over, I said, well, what are they doing over there? Something going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked and I stepped back a little bit from my car and it was the Department of Labor.
Department of Labor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
have
like,
you noticed it being there prior to this incident?
no, I've never been to that gas station. I've
Wow.
like
Wow.
I've gotten off at that exit before, but
Mm-hmm.
never had been to the gas station there and didn't know the Department of Labor was there. And I thought to myself, wow, this is for me. This is totally for me. I'm going to head over there and I'm going to go ahead and file for unemployment. I might as well do it now. I don't know what they're going to say
Mm-hmm.
and what they're going to do because I've never had to file before.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in and I filed. And when they called me up to the counter, the young lady said, this is your resume. And I said, yes. She said, we can't really help you.
Mm.
And I said, well, what do you mean? Like, I have children at home. What do you mean you can't help me? How am I supposed to find work? She says, looking at your resume, you probably can help us more than we can help you. And I think that, I'm just going to get a supervisor to see what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And she went and got a supervisor. And the supervisor came back and he said to me, he says, I really think that you'd be helpful for the people that come for our training on resume writing and interviews and things of that nature
Mm-hmm.
because you're very well presented. You're already in HR and recruiting, so you know what they're looking for. And your resume looks great. So she's right. We really can't do much for you other than tell you what jobs are posted, which you can find that on the website. But I'd like to know if you were open to maybe coming in once a week and speaking to the individuals that are going through the process. And I said, but I'm going through the process. Like I'm going
Right,
through,
right.
I'm looking for work. And they said, don't worry, we're going to pay you for coming in once a week, but I'd love if you would come in because you're going through it right now, just like them. And I'd
Mm-hmm.
like for you to speak to what it is that you're going to do to secure your next position and how you're going to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I did that for 3 weeks on Wednesday. And when I finished that Wednesday, I had gone home and got a call and went on an interview the following day and got called that Friday to start that Monday. And they flew me out to California and I had a new job. And I said, whoa. And I thought to
Mm-hmm.
myself, that was the worst 3 weeks of my life. But what happens to people that take more than 2 or 3 weeks to find their next role? How do they handle it? Everyone is not HR. Everyone is not recruiting. Everyone can't read their mind. So if I felt as bad as I felt, how does anyone else feel who's on the outside completely
Mm-hmm.
and don't even know where to start? And that was what made me say, I've got to help any and everyone that goes through this. And that was how it all got started.
That is a beautiful story. I mean, looking back at it now, it's really easy to just call it a beautiful story, but I'm sure as you were going through it, it was strugglebus.com.
Yes.
Yeah, but how much you think has your struggle really contributed to how awesome a career coach you are today, though? Would you recommend struggle in people, to people? Like, go through that struggle. It will be worth it. Would that be a message? And
I
why?
would not say go through that struggle. I would definitely say if you're going through that struggle,
Yeah.
have someone that truly cares, that's passionate, and that can really help walk you and hold your hand through the process. Because a lot of times like I went into the Department of Labor. What happens if you walk in and you don't have the skills that they may be looking for the jobs they have posted? What
Mhm.
do you do to get those
Right.
skills? They don't always give you the skills, like they don't put you through certain training. So what happens?
Mm-hmm.
So I help my clients determine where they can find free trainings. I help them find out where you find free resources to help even pay bills. And that's not even part of career coaching, but that is part of the stress that you have when you
Right.
are employed.
Right.
So I find that to be very important as an add-on as well. So
Mhm.
I definitely think career coaching is it for me. Like that is what my true passion is, and is to help everyone, because there is enough out there for all of us and there's no reason for anyone to go without.
See, now, I think that's what we need to get in our heads, that there's enough for everyone, right? I think that would change our attitude. That would change how we lead our lives. That would change how we go to work. It would change kind of our entire way of being and existing. Maybe we wouldn't compare ourselves to somebody else as much. Maybe we wouldn't think that somebody else's success means our failure, you know? And just knowing that there is enough money for everybody. Like you can do what you care to do and still make money. The person beside you can be a billionaire and there's still enough money in the world for you to be content in life too. So I love that you said that there's enough for all of us. That takes a load off of me. It takes a load off of, I'm sure, a lot of people, because now that we know that there's enough, we know that we're not just working aimlessly, but we're working towards a goal that we can actually achieve, that we can call ours, right?
Right.
So, okay. I remember you saying that, well, in our conversation prior to this, that you've been helping people transition into careers since the 90s. What does
Mhm.
that entail? What does that usually look like?
Transitioning is when I always like to utilize that word, because what that means to me is you're going through a change from one thing to another. And that
Mhm.
transition is sometimes going from a job to a career. So a lot of times when we're not working, the first thing we want, I got to find a job. I got to find a job. And we're thinking about paying the bills, but we're not thinking about our overall well-being, our happiness, our family, and even our work-life balance. So when you decide you're going to go into a job, it will only do exactly what you have already put out there that it's going to do. Help pay,
Mm.
help pay
Mhm.
bills. You spoke it. So now when you realize you're living from check to check, you think to yourself, did I really negotiate that well enough for me to even have taken this job?
Mhm.
And going through my coaching program teaches you that you don't want a job, you want a career. And the career you want is the one that you absolutely enjoy doing, where you lose time. You can look at the clock and say, wow, I just started my workday. And when you look up, it's 3 o'clock. And the only reason you know it's 3 o'clock is you're saying, gosh, why am I so hungry? Other than that, you've had so much fun doing what you're doing that you're
Yeah.
saying, hey, this is good. This is good. It's 3 o'clock. I didn't even have lunch. That
Mhm.
is when you know you love what you do.
Mhm.
And that is what I help my clients identify. Through career assessments, you will find exactly what suits you, your personality, and your education, life experience, and skill sets, so that you're not partnered in doing a job instead of a career
Mhm.
that you love.
So, two things I noticed is that you made a distinction between job and career. The job is exactly just wanting something to pay bills, to live sometimes check to check on. And the career is what you enjoy to do. It's something that you could possibly even lose time doing because you care so much about it. Like it just takes you up. You're so passionate about it. And so you're helping us transition from job to a career, or even from wherever we are to a career, would mean first helping us to identify what a career is. And so in identifying that career, you take us through this whole journey of, okay, what suits your personality, but also what suits your skill set. So that's the next thing I wanted to mention, because we talk about passion and what we care to do and what we love to do and all that jazz. And we find the career, what we think is the career that really suits our personality, but we're not really good at it. We need to be practical. So see, I'm a talk about purpose, talk about passion type of gal. I'm the dreams girl. Follow your dreams, your passion, but I'm also very practical. If you're good at it, it matters. Okay. Your skill sets have to line up with it also. So I want you to talk a little bit more about how the career is supposed to be the kind of job that suits your personality, but also your skill sets. How important is that?
That's everything, actually, because just imagine if I were in HR or even recruiting, and I was not really a talker. How can I
Mm-hmm.
recruit people if I'm having to get on Zoom calls, make phone calls, schedule appointments? All of that requires talking. It can't be done just by email.
Right.
So when you take an assessment, it's going to ask you questions where after a while you're going to identify, hey, I think I answered that question already. They just worded it differently. That's what the goal of an assessment is. It's going to ask you a series of questions and then revisit some of those questions just to confirm you said you were a talker. You really enjoy talking
Okay.
and you love to do this. You really can waste time just talking on the phone all day.
Mm-hmm.
When you finish that assessment, it's going to tell you that you probably can be a phone operator, a recruiter, a customer service manager, or even a customer service clerk on a phone line, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it pulls out all of your soft skills as well as the things that you would call your hard skills, which are
Right.
things that you were taught in school through education. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to ask you your education level. It's going to ask you about your major. What courses did you like and dislike in school?
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? If you didn't like English, we're probably not going to have you fill out documents all day
Mm-hmm.
because you don't like writing and you don't like really reading too much. So
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't have you do that. But what if you were in information technology and you loved working on computer programming?
Mm-hmm.
It will pull that out as well. It pulls that out from you as well.
What if someone is really adamant about doing that uh, thing that they think is suitable to their personality because it's what they like to do, but they're not really so great at it? What would you say to that person, or how would you guide that person to the right direction?
Well, here's the thing. We can do anything that we want in this life.
That's good.
The key is identifying what or who is going to help you get to that destination. So if you're not good at it now, there
Okay.
are programs that can get you good in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, or 9 months. So
Mm-hmm.
let me help you identify where you're going to find those programs, which ones have scholarships, which ones have payment plans, which ones are free.
Mm-hmm. And that would help you become, because you've educated yourself on whatever career you're preparing for. So now naturally you've become an asset,
Yes.
right? And so in becoming an asset, you are more secure in that job, to the point where if the supervisor is not interested in you, or if the interviewer is not interested in you, you still feel like an asset and you still feel secure in yourself, that and confident enough to take yourself to another organization and try the whole interview process again, right? So two words
Yeah.
that I mentioned, being an asset and job security. So we talked a little bit about that, and I so love the definition you had for job security. Tell me what that is, Coach Marcy. What is job security?
I can't recall how I defined it for you, but I'm going to try.
You said there's no such thing as job security.
That was what I was starting with. There is
There
no
you
such
go.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason there isn't anything really considered job security is because nothing is guaranteed to you. Nothing is guaranteed. If an organization restructures and they downsize, it
Mm-hmm.
may affect your department. And it may affect your department in a way where they come and they say, well, we're going to reduce salaries or we're going to reduce by people. Sometimes what that means is it's best for them to reduce by people, to keep the valuable ones, and then add a few tasks to each of those people.
Right.
So the job security, it doesn't exist. It's not there. This is not the 80s, 90s. It's not going to happen.
And as we've heard through your story, it really doesn't exist. You've been working with that company for how long?
I was at that company 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
I have worked at companies 12 and 15 years, hit the glass ceiling and didn't get a raise anymore.
Mm-hmm.
How can I meet the needs of inflation
Mm-hmm.
if there is a proverbial glass ceiling? What am I to do if that happens? And I've been with you for so many years, and you say, but I'm sorry, you already earned the top for that position.
Mm-hmm.
It still means it's time for me to plan my exit.
Mm-hmm. So we've come to the conclusion that there's no such thing as job security, but there is such a thing as another kind of security that comes from you, the confidence that you develop having made yourself an asset because you've done the work of educating yourself, getting the set of skills that you need for that specific career. What else do we do to develop the internal security is what I would call it.
We've also worked on your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
We've worked on how you actually articulate in an interview.
That's good now.
We worked on your presentation in the visual and physical sense so that when you apply to roles and show up for that interview, you show up pristine.
Mm-hmm.
This also helps that confidence level, because imagine showing up to the interview properly dressed, knowing exactly what you're going to say and what value you bring to the organization and how you're going to help them escalate their business.
Right.
That speaks to what you bring, not what you want. Companies don't want to hear what you want. They want to know what you bring. So once you're able to do that, you've won most of the battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And oh my gosh, that can be such a challenge for someone who's not confident enough in themselves to go to an organization and say, hey, I can bring this, that, and the third, and you need that. That takes a certain level of confidence. So research is necessary. You have to put in the work on your end, put in the research that you need to put into, like I said before, develop the skills, educate yourself and all that good stuff. I'm thinking what kind of internal work would we have to do to get to that level of confidence where you know you're an asset, not just to an organization, but even in a relationship? How can I feel confident enough in myself to know that, hey, man, I'm bringing something here that is worth your while, right? So I guess in search for a career, it's not just you looking for the kind of set of responsibilities or roles that you know you can play. It's a little bit more than that. In search of a career, you also need to know who you are,
Yes.
and be sure of who you are, be certain of that, be comfortable with that. And so it takes some internal work as well as educating yourself, going, online to doing courses. It is as important. That is such an interesting crossover that I never thought of until this very moment. So when we're trying to transition from a job to a career, or maybe you're transitioning from being completely unemployed into having a career, owning your business, whatever it is that you're passionate about, you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. Because you mentioned words like personality. If that is an important aspect of searching for a career that works for you, then obviously internal work is necessary. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely. So we need to get out of this whole job security mindset. There's no such thing as job security. We have learned that from Coach Marcy, y'all. Come on now. If you didn't know before, now you know. Okay. Stop giving an organization all the power.
Right.
Stop giving them all that power. Don't give them the say so on whether you're good enough or not. Don't give them the say so on whether you are an asset or not. Be that good enough, invaluable asset wherever you go. Don't let an organization determine that. Beautiful.
That's right. That's right.
Love to hear it. Okay, so I know that there are a lot of individuals in their 20s and in their 30s, like myself, who are very concerned about their future. They're wondering what kind of career they will have. I know that I'm a very visual person, so I'm imagining on a regular basis what my future will look like. What will my kids look like? What kind of schools will I be able to send them to? What kind of house will I have, right? What kind of lifestyle will I create for myself? And the kind of lifestyle that I want for myself, I'm then thinking how to get there, right? So we're kind of, people my age, we're kind of scampering to find that perfect career, right?
Right.
So what advice would you have for the person who may be anxious, who may be feeling kind of behind in finding that career that would gift them the lifestyle they so desire?
The first thing I would say is take a deep breath. Take a deep breath in and exhale.
Mm-hmm.
And know that there is no timeline to your greatness.
Oh, that's so good.
There is no timeline to your greatness. There are so many clocks that we follow from the time we are born. We are placed on schedules. We are given other people's perceptions of reality, their traditions, and everything else. And by the time we're able to think for ourselves, we slip up and we keep using this time to dictate when we are going to do things. So if you are in your 20s and you're not sure, it's okay. Take an assessment. It'll help you. Answer it the best way that you can, and it's going to pop out a lot of information about you, up to and including your personality type, your personality traits, and then it's going to also tell you the types of careers that are good for you based on those things.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do that, then it is your responsibility to hit the ground running, do some research, find organizations that hold those positions that it says that you're really great for.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that, then you start to connect with people in those organizations. Start having conversations. Don't be afraid to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, they'll walk you in the door and you won't have to struggle as much as an outsider trying to get in.
Mm-hmm.
But no, there is no time. There's no time period that is, you've got to do it. You're 18 now, you've got to do it. No.
Yeah. And the truth is, each of us is walking our own path. Right. So there's no way that Coach Marcy's timeline is my timeline, and vice versa. Like, that would make absolutely no sense. Then you wouldn't have the story that you have right now to make you who you are today, right? You said take an assessment. Where would we find this assessment?
There are free assessments that are offered online. There is one called VIA assessment. That is like the #1 assessment that people use, along with the DISC assessment, DISC. And those are two that you can take absolutely free to learn the most about your personality, the things that really appeal to you and apply to you in the workplace. And it'll also teach you the types of managers that you work best with too.
Oh, that's good.
Because remember, the #1 reason people leave their job or their career is because of their manager. It is never because of the company or even coworkers. The #1 reason is the manager. So it's important to have that information.
That's good. You did mention before that a college student, right, who's just graduated, should not go straight from school into a job. Why do you say that?
The reason you don't want to go straight into a job is because your thoughts are money driven instead of total goal driven. So I've graduated. It's time for me to go get a job.
Right. That was
We're
me. I tell
taught
you what.
this. Yeah, and we're taught this, and there's nothing wrong with working. The key to this is you want to graduate, you want to actually plan and prepare. If you took out student loans, you do have 6 months before you have to start paying. That's first and foremost. If
Okay.
you didn't have student loans and you don't owe money to your school, what you want to make sure you do is go to the placement office at your campus, because that is part of your education expense, career development.
Mm.
And the career development office has been in that corner way down the hall, the brown with the brown bricks all the way down at the end, where they've been the whole time, and you may not have ever visited.
Mm.
Utilize that career development office. They can tell you who actually is hiring
Mm.
and can partner you with organizations that hire students that have your specific degree.
Mm-hmm. What about the individual who's realized at the end of their school tenure that this degree is not something I care for?
Then for them, here's the good piece. For them, they can easily go into a certification. They can even do an apprenticeship where they're paid as an apprentice to do something that they really want to do. So let's say you're into photography,
Mm-hmm.
be an apprentice, learn from someone else who is willing to pay you while they train you. And
Mm-hmm.
as they're paying you, you start to build up your own equipment, your own skill set, and then you're ready to branch off to do it on your own. And now, when you're doing this, it's not a job, it's actually your business and your career.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of similar to an internship.
Right.
Okay. So you're saying that maybe I got a degree in IT, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really interested in IT. I only did that because my mom told me, hey, man, that's where the money's at. And so I
Right.
struggled those 4 years to get that degree. But now at the end of it, as I'm visiting the career development office, I'm like, wait a minute, I really don't want you to put me with that career, with that job that is in alignment with my degree, because I really don't care for it. So you're
Mm-hmm.
saying at that point, we could get into a kind of internship that speaks to our interest or actual interest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's
Absolutely.
not too late.
It's never too
There we
late.
go now.
Never too late. And for those that did not attend college,
Because there are those.
you have what I consider the upper hand, because you don't have any debt at all to any education
Okay.
system. And you can just go straight into training and have begun your career much sooner.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to have the clarity in knowing what career you want to go into, so that when you do your training, it's in the right field, and then you'll be gainfully employed.
Awesome. You yourself wanted to be a vet, but you went to school for,
I actually finished veterinary school, but also went to school for human resource management.
there we go.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And did you care for the human resource management degree that you went to school for?
I went to school for human resources because when I was working in my part time job while I was in college,
Mm-hmm.
they recognized I had a real knack for speaking to people
Oh,
and
okay.
the art of persuasion, getting people to do things that I wanted them to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked me about it and said, hey, we'll pay for some of your coursework.
Oh,
So that was awesome.
yes.
Tuition reimbursement. And I was able to take extra coursework and then continue to get a master's degree in HR.
There we go. There we go. So in your case, you had the right people around you to say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you actually have a certain quality which will work in this field,
Right.
right? And they were willing to support you. So you said yes to it, you agreed to that, you took the help,
Yeah.
and you went forward with that. So that's cool. And you didn't short yourself. You still went ahead to vet school.
Yes.
That's good. And so there's an importance in surrounding yourself with the right people who know you enough to tell you what's true about you. Because in
Right.
your case, if you didn't get that degree, you probably would not have had the jobs you had, which
Right.
supported you for some time.
Right.
So you had someone to speak to you to say, hey, you actually do have XYZ qualities. For some of us, we may not be around the people that are pouring into us in that way. And so that's why we make good use of the assessments. All right.
Yes.
We've spoken about passion. Obviously, we want to do what we want to do. We don't want to do the things that we don't want to do. That's why we're looking for the career. But what happens when the passion is taking just too long to feed me or to give me the kind of lifestyle that I so crave? What happens then?
Well, the reality of it all is you can take a job. The
Mm-hmm.
goal is, if you take a job, understand what the goal really is. What is your end
There we
game
go.
with taking this job? What is the path that you're looking to take? What are the hurdles you are going to jump to get to the finish line of saying, I've done this, and this is the path to my career, and I'm going to go ahead and jump all of these hurdles to get to that finish line? You
There we
have
go.
to map that out. You have to map that out. So it's okay to take a job. I get it. We all have taken jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember specifically going to the strip mall, walking into Old Navy, filling out an application, knowing they're not going to hire me because they're going to say she's overqualified. Why would she want to work here? She's going to work here only until. So
Mm.
don't walk in to a place that you know is not going to give it to you if they read your resume because you're overqualified.
Okay.
Go to a place that is on an equal playing field, but
Okay.
definitely work a job. You need to be able to support yourself and pay your bills. What you have to be able to do is effectively manage your time so that you've got 2 hours or 3 hours a day when you come home to apply for the dream career.
There we go. So a job does come in handy, but it should serve the
Absolutely.
purpose. Yeah, it should serve the purpose of helping you move to the end all be all.
Yes.
Right. So it's a means to an end.
Right.
Okay. Okay, that helps to know what the purpose of a job is versus what the purpose of the career is. So the job's purpose is to help you transition to the career then.
Right.
Okay. I remember you saying that my career feeds me the mink coat that I
Yes.
wore last week. Tell the people a little bit more about that, because what you were saying is that there is a possibility that you can work the career, right? That is the thing you're passionate about, the thing that you love, and still get exactly the lifestyle that you've been dreaming of. It doesn't have to be either or, it can be both and, right?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
And for me, that is my mindset. It is a place that I take myself where I can visualize and I say, I am going to be in this career. This is my next title I would like to have. This is the salary that I deserve. And this is the lifestyle that I want to actually live.
Mm.
And when you can visualize it and write it down on paper and visualize it again and speak about it, that's what we call manifestation.
Okay. Absolutely. It is really a powerful thing because when I am with my clients, that's one thing I ask them to do. I said, close your eyes for a couple of minutes and let us envision the exact life that you want for yourself. Don't hold back. Don't think about life and the challenges that come with life, but think about exactly what you want. What do you feel in that moment? What are you experiencing as you're walking through the house right now? One of my clients, as she was closing her eyes, I was just kind of narrating it for her so she could imagine exactly what she wanted. And at one point I said, okay, you're wanting your own space. So at this point, you're just coming home from your career. You're walking into the living room. And the first thing you smell is that vanilla aroma that you so love, because The every room in your house has that airwick with the vanilla scent because that's what you love, right? And so you walk in there and you experience that scent, and you see your neutral toned couch to the left of you, and you see your child with maybe your grandma, with his grandma, running towards you saying, "Mommy, you're home." So I would narrate it in that way so that they could really sit in it and experience it, because there is something in experiencing, even if you're not if you're not physically and in your current reality experiencing it, there is something in experiencing it mentally and emotionally. It gives you that drive, and it reminds you exactly why you've taken on this job and why
Right.
you're moving towards that career, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is some power in that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we spoke a little bit about the importance of learning how to negotiate. How important is that in attaining the career that's best for you?
Wow. That is major, because if you do not negotiate, you may find yourself very unhappy in a short period of time. So when we talk about negotiation, people think it means money.
Okay.
It
So it's
means
not.
money. It means money, but
Okay.
there's so much more that goes with it, because we've got money, we've got benefits, we've got PTO, we've got 401k, we've got so many different things, culture days that you may be able to negotiate, or even
Hmm.
whether you can work hybrid or remote. Those are all negotiables.
That's good.
Another negotiable is dress code.
See, I didn't
What
know
if,
we could negotiate that.
listen, what if you love to come to work in jeans on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and your manager knows you're very productive when you wear jeans?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what happens? You get to wear jeans on Friday. These are all negotiables. So when we talk about that, it's not going to always be about the money, because sometimes organizations don't have the money, but they can easily say, but we do have this.
Hmm. So they meet you halfway,
Right,
and their willingness to meet you halfway will inform you as to whether this is the right space for you to work in or not.
right,
Because if
right.
they're not willing, then you know, okay, maybe you won't be the best manager for me. I really love that you said, of course, I was very intrigued by the dress code thing. I never considered that before. Because I guess that is important. Because if I am more productive in jeans, what, give me a day to wear some jeans then.
Right.
Whether that should be hybrid or remote, that too is important. Okay, so what kind of because for me, I will say personally, just the word negotiation is so intimidating to
Mm-hmm.
me. I always feel like, okay, what kind of demeanor should I have? How should I present myself? How should I speak? How do I do negotiation? So could
Right.
you give us a little bit of how you would even start that negotiation process if you're the one that started it, which more than likely you will be, because I'm pretty sure maybe the manager wouldn't be like, okay, let's negotiate. So,
Most often, they're in the interview,
mhm,
the hiring manager or the recruiter will say to you, can you
mhm.
tell me your
Okay.
salary requirements? And they're doing that more often now than they did before, because they don't want to waste your time or their time going through a process where they may have pushed you to the next interview only to tell you, well, we pay 45,000 a year. And you say, but I was looking to get 60,
Mhm,
you know?
mhm,
So
mhm.
think of it this way. When you're asked, so tell me about your salary requirements.
Okay.
The key to having the answer to this question is A, doing market research to determine, based on where you live, the years of education you have, and the years of experience, what someone would be paid in your job title. And also try and see if you can find out what they've paid previous people in the same organization in the same role. That
Mhm,
gives you leverage.
mhm,
That gives you a lot of leverage. And usually, what's best and what's recommended is saying, well, my salary requirements are within the range of 60 to 70,000 per year. Is that within the range that you're interviewing for?
Oh, that's beautiful.
So you put it back on them. So
Right.
you gave them a range and then you put it back on them.
Mm,
So it forces them to kind of answer the question. If it's within the range, they will say yes. Now, be mindful. If they like you, they're going to say yes and they're going to find the money if it's not within range. If it's
okay.
not within range because they just can't do anything, they're going to say, oh, I'm sorry, unfortunately, it's not. However, you should have done your homework before that to know that that was within the range. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
as long as you've done all of the research, you're going to know what they're going to approximately try to offer you if offered a role, or when they mention salary requirements, you know exactly what they're going to say that range is. So it's good to have that information.
That's good. So you don't sound crazy asking for too much
Right.
because you have an idea of how much they would already be offering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. And I especially like when you say my required salary is. So you're letting them know I'm not just here to take money from you. I'm not just here to just list a big figure for you to give me, but my lifestyle requires this. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that says so much. That one word says so much. It says, I got kids to feed. I got a car payment. I got this, that, and the third. And so I need this amount of money.
But it
Okay.
also says I have the skill set and the ability to give you proven success.
Mm,
So pay me my worth.
and there we go. Pay me my worth. That's good. Let's shift over to this question. When is the right time to say goodbye to a career that feeds your pockets, but not your soul?
When it makes you sick, when it emotionally destroys you, and when it's no longer fulfilling.
Because the fact that it's called a career means that it was at one point fulfilling,
Right. And
but no
sometimes,
more is it. Mhm.
right, sometimes we fall out of love, not because it's the wrong career, but we've got the wrong people managing us that
Mhm.
have worked us to the bone and we
Mm,
can't go any further. It could mean we have experienced a trauma in the workplace that has turned us off creatively and we can't be productive. It
mhm.
can mean I'm so stressed that now I've developed high blood pressure and obesity
Mm,
because I'm working more than I'm spending time with family, walking in the park, or doing other things that
mm,
I'm now no longer healthy.
mhm, mhm. It could also mean that that season of your life is over. You're on to another season, which requires a new set of desires,
Mhm.
right? A new set
Right.
of another kind of passion. I can imagine that could be scary for someone who maybe all their life they wanted to be, let's say, maybe all my life I wanted to be a life coach. And I am that right now. What if 2, 3 years from now, I'm not feeling the life coach thing? I would be very scared about that because I've associated much of my identity to life coaching, right? So to know that okay, there's a possibility that I could fall out of love with life coaching, and now I have to go through the whole process of finding a career that works for the new me or the newer version of myself or for this new season that I'm in. It can be a little bit daunting. What would you say to someone who, is going through that transition?
Know that it happens to a lot of other people.
You're not alone.
Yeah. And you may be in a career and it can be 3 years, it can be 30 years.
Mm-hmm,
If
mm-hmm,
it is no longer fulfilling or it's not what you thought it would be, you can't stay in it just because you're worried about what others are going to think, or you're worried about, oh my gosh, where do I start? What do I do?
mm-hmm,
Believe me, as quickly as you fell in love with this,
Mm-hmm.
Going to recognize you also love something else and just move forward. Don't move in fear, just move forward in confidence and faith, knowing that it's going to be okay.
Got you. That is really reassuring, I'm sure, for a lot of people, myself included. All right, we spoke a little bit about this, but let us speak even more directly. Career planning, what does that entail?
Wow, career planning. That is an entire path that you will take where you assess, you learn, you discover, you then start to document. You also want to be able to, from the documentation that you come up with, plan out the time. How am I going to get this done? There are steps to making sure that it's almost like playing a board game where you're going to roll a dice and you're going to take a few steps. Now you're at level 1. You're going to roll a dice again. You're going to do some things. You're going to take some steps. You'll be at level 2. You have to make sure that you follow it in the order it's in. If you don't, you're going to find yourself hopping and jumping everywhere. And guess what? We don't even want to go into the job hopper piece just yet, but there are job hoppers. And this comes from not following the actual footprint or plan in order to move yourself forward so that you're successful in your journey looking for that career of your dreams. You can't just say, well, I like photography, so let me go ahead and go into Vogue magazine and just go apply. So here's the thing. If you hadn't assessed your skill set and you went into Vogue and you showed them a picture that looked like someone's 2-year-old, put it on the refrigerator, don't be surprised when they tell you that you don't qualify to even apply, or no one even comes out to see you as you sit at the reception area. So there are steps that have to be taken to ensure you're going in the direction to secure that real dream career.
Okay, it makes sense. Yeah. Set your goals, but also set up the steps that you need to take to get to the goal.
Yes. Yes.
Job hoppers, you mentioned that. Tell me a little bit about what is that? What is a job hopper?
Job hoppers. And you know what's funny? What really makes job hoppers funny to me is I'm one of them. I'm one of them. Even though they love to say millennials just job hop. No. Unhappy employees job hop.
Ooh.
Okay. Employees who are underpaid job hop. Employees who are well educated and undervalued job hop. So anyone who is not happy and has identified that they can receive more, whether it's more in paid time off, whether it's more in I don't pay $200 a paycheck for benefits, or whether it's actually more money, we will leave and go to another organization. They identify job hoppers as an individual who will work 1 or 2 years at a job. Okay. You know how many people have done that? Several. And here's the other piece. If I'm a contracted employee, well, contractor, not an employee, but a contractor, I wouldn't work for you for long periods of time.
Right.
I've worked 6-month contracts. I've worked 12-month contracts. I've worked 18-month contracts nonetheless. And they will still see on my resume that it says contract, and they will say, can you tell me a little bit about, you had just this 8-year period that you were just hopping. But it says contractor. So it's not hopping. Contracts end.
Right.
That's it. If you're not contracted and you're job hopping, be prepared to answer that question. Tell me a little bit about why you've worked in 3 organizations in 2 years. Be prepared for it and formulate the answer that is not only professional, but the one that also reveals that you do understand that it may not look good,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a move that you had to make for
Mm-hmm.
you to be better in who you are and what you do and what you want to do. Sometimes a role is not a good fit. It's okay to say that. That wasn't really a good fit. I found that they wanted me to drive into areas that were unsafe, and I elected to resign from that role doing those deliveries. It meant I may not return home to my family.
That's
That's
really
a
good.
good reason. That's a good reason to say I had to leave that job.
Yeah. And that would be a beautiful segue into a negotiation.
Hmm.
Because at that point now you're thinking, will you be an organization that takes me away from my family as did
Right.
the one before? Right.
Hmm.
There we go. Okay, the final question, which I always love asking people is, Miss Coach Marcy, what books or what book are you reading right now?
None. I'm an audiobook person. I'm really an audiobook person. And I love to read or listen to much older books that are self-development. So, As a Man Thinketh is one. I love that book.
Why do you love it?
There, it tells you about your mindset. Your mindset is the reason you are where you are. It is based on what you believe, why you are there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you believe that you're not better than the person next to you, you won't ever be better than the person next to you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think it and
Mm-hmm.
you speak it, it is so.
Hmm.
You have to be careful. And they mention the power of the tongue a lot. So we
Hmm.
have to learn that that is sometimes what gets us into the trouble we're in the first place. So
Yeah.
we have to always speak positive over ourselves. I may not be number one. I may be number two. I will be number one. Not today, but I will be.
Hmm.
If I say that, I've got that in my head and I know I have already set that path for me to work toward being number one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as going into your career and saying, I'd love to be promoted to that management role. And you're working. You love what you do. You're passionate about it. You're helping people. They're even writing wonderful emails to your manager. But you keep saying it. And when you wake up every day, there's that manager. There she is. You look great, Miss Manager. Yes, you do. You look good. I see what you're doing there for your customers. And you say that to yourself every single day when you go to work. And what happens?
Start to believe it.
Eventually you believe it. And you know what you start to do? You walk a little bit more upright and you're smiling more. Good morning. How are you? Yes, I had a great weekend. How about you? And before you know it, you're getting on the phone and you're sounding pleasant because you already feel and envision yourself as that manager.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, in between time, you're also making sure you're nurturing yourself by just reading more, learning more about what your career is required of you
Mm-hmm.
in order for you to move up. So when you check all the boxes, you'll be getting promoted.
Very good. Very good. So you love listening to self-help or not self-help, self-development,
Self-development, yes.
self-development books. And it's for that reason, to lead a better life.
Right,
Because that particular book, As a Man Thinketh, as you were saying, it helps you believe better about yourself.
right,
And once you have that belief, you start acting it out.
right.
So because ultimately you want to act right and you want a certain kind of lifestyle,
Hmm.
work on this.
Right,
You work on this. That's good. So the mind is powerful, the tongue is powerful. And I believe those two things can dictate your entire lifestyle because it's what dictates your attitude, your behavior, your actions. right?
Yes.
Awesome. Love it. So, what books then that you've listened to would you recommend to someone who's searching for the right career? Maybe As a Man
Ooh.
Thinketh, but any other book?
For someone for career, I don't really listen to books about career. Everything is self development. Nothing is about career. It's about
Mhm.
mindset,
Yes.
meditation, and sometimes it's simply going onto YouTube and listening to meditation sound.
Ooh.
I love to meditate when I first get up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do my yoga, and it's just wonderful. It puts me in the place I need to
Mm-hmm.
be able to say, now I can start my day. Nothing is going to break how I feel.
Mm-hmm. How did you find the book like As a Man Thinketh? Was it recommended to you? Did you find it on Amazon?
I found it on YouTube.
On YouTube?
Yep.
For free.
For free.
Uh-oh.
Yes. And it came from me looking at other videos about meditation and mindset, how
Mhm.
to how to have positive thoughts over negative thoughts, how to train your brain in under 11 minutes. Things like that were the videos that I was actually listening to,
Mhm.
so that I could really say, I am able to handle whatever is going to come my way today, tomorrow, this whole week.
Mhm.
And for me, I meditate daily,
Mhm.
but I listen to self-help all throughout the day. Sometimes I'm listening and it changes and it's another book. I'm
Mhm.
just saying, whoa, that's insane. How did I get to that?
Mhm.
And I automatically look at my phone and say, what did I just get into? That makes no sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's kind of how it starts for me and how it
Right.
started. And I love that I'm able to actually spend my entire workday listening to things that keep me going
Right. Right.
instead of stressing me out. Because in this pandemic, some people are home. Now, I've been home since March of 2020.
Mm.
I haven't had to drive to my workplace the entire time.
Mhm.
How do you cope with that when it means you've got no support right in front of you that you used to have? How does that work? So we are relying more on these methods to feed the need of us having the interaction of someone that's making us feel better or something that's making us feel better. And hopefully it's not the refrigerator full of food.
'Cause sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Mhm. But you know what? You mentioned that because, when I asked what book would you recommend to someone who's looking for a career, you said you don't listen to career books, but the mere fact that you engage in meditation to help with your mental state, and the fact that you listen to a book like As a Man Thinketh to also improve your mental state is in and of itself a book and a kind of habit that you would
Hmm.
recommend to someone who's looking for a career. Because just as we mentioned before, a career is not just looking for the set of skills or that role or that set of responsibilities that work with you, but
Right.
in looking for a career, you're thinking about your value, yourself. You have to know yourself, be comfortable
Yes.
with who you are. So it goes right back to what's going on in here internally. Do I
Yes.
love what I know about me? Do I even know me?
Right.
Do I even know me? And what set of activities do I need to engage in to then begin to know me? Right? And we are growing always, evolving always. So you can't rely on the activity that you did 10 years ago to inform you of who you are. Find something
Correct.
else, get into the mindset books, get into the audio books or the meditation, get
Hmm.
you a life coach, get you a career coach that can help you discover more about your personality. Take the assessments, the DISC, the DISC assessment, right?
Yes.
To help you know more about your personality, who you are, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, and to actually love that about yourself. move more confidently through life, and the career will find you. Do you agree?
Yeah.
There you
Yes.
go. I love that. And I love our conversations. This is our second
Yeah.
conversation,
This
and
has
it
been
went well.
great.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. So I appreciate it. You've definitely dropped some gems that I know I will forever benefit from, that I know the listeners will definitely benefit from. Tell us where we can find you, Coach Marcy.
So I can be found on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn as Career Coach Marcy.
There we go.
And I also can be found on my website, which is careercoachmarcy.squarespace.com.
Love it. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again for coming on here. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.